So I'm talking to Steve Davis again. Steve was a doctor in the military for 28 years and he did a lot of health planning and pandemic planning, and he lives in Scone, so I am picking his brain for our audience. We're going to talk about clinical trials and also the basic scientific framework. So first, in terms of understanding the kind of work that goes into developing a vaccine to be able to get it to a point where we can use it, and also just some basic scientific processes, so that when you're reading something on the internet and you hear about a trial or you hear about some kind of conspiracy theory, that you can kind of think about these measures and think if it sounds valid or not. So Steve, clinical trials.
Yes.
Why does it take so long, and what is the process to go through for, say, a vaccine or a medication?
It can take a long time from the initial concept, the initial hypothesis of the medication X or vaccine Y is going to be effective, to the time it moves through to when a medication or vaccine is approved for use. Can take a long time, can take many years in case. And that's because it actually needs to go through a thorough investigation, a thorough process to make sure that the medication or the vaccine is safe and effective. So initially it'll be all those things about ethics committees and designing the study to make sure that the medication is going to be safe.
And in the design of the study too, the ethics committee looks at things like making sure that you've got an equal amount of men and women, or that they're of a range of ages, and so the parameters have to be really broad if it's going to be used in a broad way.
That's right. If we're looking at medication for a vaccine, for example, then it's going to need to be effective and safe across the whole population base. So any study is going to need a sample across that community section. So the ethics committee will look at that in any design before giving approval. But once we're in the process of assessing, then the first stage may be in vitro testing, maybe animal testing, to look at the toxicity and the safety of the particular agent. And if that's ticked, if that's safe, they'll go on to human trials, a small number of humans with a small dose, again looking at its safety and toxicity in a human population. And also at that point they're looking at the side effects that it may cause in the human population as well. Any medication, any vaccine is going to have some side effects.
And also, I think a lot of people might not know that when you're doing a clinical trial, you have to list absolutely every element or reaction that participant may have. So if they get headaches, a few times a month, headaches will be listed as a possible side effect for that medication. So that's why when you look on a lot of medications and you read it, there's a long list, but those things often just happen in the population that you're testing anyway.
That's right. If they've shown up in the trials that 1% of people get headaches while they're using the medication, then that'll be listed.
Yeah.
But I dare say 1% of the population probably gets headaches anyway. So they need to complete the full side effect profile to establish that it's not causing horrendous side effects, or we're not seeing that 99% of people taking the medication are getting nasty side effects. Once it's established that it's effective and safe, then they'll move on to a larger population, again looking at the effectiveness before getting the final tick to say that we can use this as an approved vaccine or approved medication.
And the difference between, say, they're using ferrets at the moment to trial these vaccines, because apparently their lung proteins are quite similar to ours. But obviously, something might be successful in a ferret, but not so successful in a person.
That's right. We see with lots of viruses that they don't transmit across species.
Yeah.
And it's the same with the reactions to various medication or vaccine. It may not be effective in different species, which is why before getting approved, we actually need to do human trials.
So when they're talking about being able to get this vaccine out, possibly within 12 months to 18 months. That's lightning speed for any kind of trial, isn't it?
It is. It is. Sometimes it can take up to 10 years from inception to approval. So getting a vaccine out in 12 to 18 months is very fast.
Yeah.